What's going on, everybody? So today I'm in Houston, towards the Heights area, or in the Heights area. And today, Elder Brewing Company. We're gonna sit down and talk what inspired him to do what he's doing, how he started his brewery and stuff like that. Just kind of get a one-on-one talk with the person that brews and owns and, you know, does the business. You know, I'm kind of curious, how do they handle this? You know, how do they make their beer? You know, what makes them stand out? Which, their West Coast pilsner is good. Hands down, one of the best beers that I've had for a while. And I've never heard of a West Coast pilsner before, but they've got one here. It's called Lefty Lazer, and it is really good. They've also got some other beers from other breweries around the area, like Equal Parts Brewing, which is, I believe, south of like the medical center and stuff like that. It's over at South Houston. So, yeah, I'm just out. They've got a real good pho place. I went there last time I was here. That was actually a real good place to eat. They've got like pepperonis, Longhorn liquor. They've got a bunch of stuff around this little place. It's pretty cool to check out. So we'll go in, we'll sit down, we'll talk, and show what they do. As I'm here today with Robert, correct?
Robert.
And
Bob.
Yeah, I don't even start with that. Then my brain was fried that day. Yes, this is Robert. He's the head brewer and the owner of Elder Brewing, correct?
Yep, I'm one of the owners. It's me and three friends.
Yeah. Okay. And this all started like in your garage, like you got here, just like, you know, I'm going to start doing it. Or,
yeah, so one of the reasons that we're drinking Fredonia right now is from Nacogdoches. So Paul makes great beer. Anyway, I was a member of the Nacogdoches homebrew club there for a while. And the reason is I lived whenever I met my wife, I met her family. Her older brother, Chris, who's one of the owners now. He's this big former rugby guy. And I wanted to do something that we could do and get some people with his nephews every once in a while, and he homebrewed. I came back to Houston, I bought a homebrew kit and an Xbox 360, and my wife and I got married a year and a half later. Brew club with Paul, who now owns Fredonia. But yeah, I got into it because I liked the girl and I wanted her to like the back. But her old also liked the back. I got into it. And then 6 years into it, I got really big into water chemistry. And after water chemistry, I really got into microbiology, but only in like the yeast sense.
so you able to learn how to make better beer, or just understand it.
Never went to school, just a lot of books and a lot of YouTube videos, really. A lot of YouTube videos, a lot of homebrew forums, a lot of books, and a lot of trial and error, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been open nearly 2 years now, and I still get on the internet, and I still read homebrew forums, and I still watch homebrew YouTube videos. Some of the stuff that they try, it's a lot less expensive for them to try it and for them to make a whole video and for me to see the outcome than it is for me to, you know, the smallest batch that we can make here is a 3-barrel batch.
Barrels are
31 gallons each. So the smallest batch that I can make is about 100 gallons. And even though that's really not a huge cost, it still is a little heartbreaking when you see it go down the drain just because you're trying something. It's a lot easier just to watch a video. And we don't have a pilot system, right? So we don't have a 5 gallon or a 10 gallon or anything like that.
Like the Fredonia's got, what was it, their little cart that he pushes around.
Right, that's probably like a half barrel system. It's probably like a 15 gallon system.
Yeah, they named it something. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
But they've actually got one for like when they did their macho milk and that stuff. You know, they did it on that test bed.
Right.
And that's how they did it. But like you were saying, where you only make 100 gallons at once.
Well,
that's your smallest one.
That's the smallest one that I can make here. My homebrew setup, which I'm in the process of giving away to a good friend, just because I don't have any room here.
Yeah.
My homebrew setup was a 1 barrel setup, so we were making a lot here. I am keen a little bit on maybe get like a claw hammer setup or a grandfather, just like maybe a 10 barrel batch system, and then I can throw it into a 6-foot keg or something like that just to trial it out. But I don't have a whole lot of room here, right? Our total space indoors is 2,200 square foot. The brewery is 3 7-barrel fermenters. There's 2 10-barrel fermenters, and there's 2 3-barrel fermenters. And with the whole brewery set up, I think we're at 900 square foot. There's just nowhere to put it. I might be able to put like a grandfather or a client or somewhere. And I've kind of carved out a little bit of spot in the back where I might be able to put like a 1-pot system. But I haven't gotten there yet.
Now with the temperature being so hot in the back, and it's cool up here, like where you got your fermenters and everything else is up here. So if it was in the back and it was hot, would that affect the inside being that it's so hot outside?
No, I mean, whenever you're brewing, your ambient temperature really doesn't matter. As long as the ambient temperature doesn't get over like more than 150 degrees, which we're dead, right?
You ain't taking beer.
And all of the fermenters, I mean, there's a lot of breweries here in Houston that are non-air conditioned. Your fermenters are going to run with like a glycol jacket, right? So
yeah,
our glycol system runs at 27F. So it's always circulating my glycol at a super low temperature. And if we need to cool the fermenters, the solenoid just open and push the fermenter down.
Like when you want to crash the system.
Whenever I want to crash or if I want to drop it, I mean, it's harder to raise the temperature of these fermenters than it is to drop the temperature. Right? So,
because there's no heating or anything inside of it. It's just basically just a cool, or to keep it at a constant temperature.
It's just a cool jacket, and there's so much thermal mass there that for you to raise 300 gallons of liquid 1 degree, it takes up a lot of energy. So even with the tap room, say that we had a 7-barrel fermenter full, and it was at 68 degrees, and I wanted to do like a BDK or something like that, and raise the temperature up from 68 to 70. Since we keep the tap room at 72 to 74 degrees, it's going to take 3-4 days just for that to raise from 68 to 70 degrees. Just a 2-degree difference is going to take you a lot of time.
Really? See, I would have never thought of that, because I know they're insulated and they have their glycol jacket and stuff like that, but I wouldn't think it'd take like that long to actually heat it up to where you could crash the system pretty quick.
Yeah, there's just so much mass there, right? That it's going to take you a lot of time.
What was a beer that you started on, but you had to go a different route with it because it wasn't turning out how you wanted to?
I mean, that's the story of making a hazy IPA. You start off and you read a bunch. And some guys are using oats, some guys are using wheat, some guys are using chit malt. Some guys are whirlpooling at certain temperatures. Some guys are boiling for longer. So you gather all this, like all the data that's already been tried, and then you just start to make it. Our hazies use pretty much the same grain bill, and it's a mixture of malted oats, flaked wheat, and normal white wheat. And then you start to look at color. Is it coming out the right color? And then you have to learn your system. So your hop utilization on a larger system is higher, sometimes over 100%.
So really?
So then you have to learn your system. So the hazies that we make here, we've sort of gotten a name for some of them. Right now we only have one on the board. I don't keep a whole lot on the board. I hope that changes soon, but it's just a matter of the time that it takes me to make them, which is usually about 16 to 17 days. Within that 16 to 17 days, we typically sell out of the previous batch. So I've been working on trying to get a couple, like anywhere from 2 to 4 hazies on the board at all times. We don't want to be known for hazies, but they do sell very, very well. But as far as a recipe that I've tinkered with, we're small enough. Our distro is only in the Houston area, and it's primarily restaurants and bars. So we don't have cans in grocery stores or anything like that. So we're not so widely known that I can't tweak every recipe.
Yeah.
Our biggest seller are our amber. I tweaked that recipe. Six months now. This final batch, I actually wrote on the notes that I think we got it. I think we're done.
You got it locked down, huh?
I think we've got the amber locked down. I think we've got the pilsner locked down. There's 2 new session. The oldest recipe that I have is called Yellow Weller, and that's a milk stout. I've been making that for 13 years, ever since I started. I've tweaked that recipe numerous times. And
What makes it a milk stout is you just add lactose to it,
I
correct?
use lactose, yeah. In Yellow Weller, I actually use both lactose and malted dextrin. Okay, so that I'm not overloading with lactose, right? Not everybody can handle a bunch of lactose. In fact, Harvey Hayes. So the final gravity of a lot of my hazies, I like the final gravity of my hazies to end around 1018 to 1020. Just so you, since a lot of my hazies don't go over 7.5%.
Okay.
And that higher alcohol content is going to give you sweetness on its own, and it's also going to give you mouthfeel. So, getting your hazies up to the 7.5%, up to the 8% alcohol, it's kind of like a cheat code, right? Because you're getting residual sugar, you're getting the sweetness. With the sweetness, it's going to come a little bit more mouthfeel as well. But since a lot of my hazies end up around like 7.3, 7.1, 6.8, 6.5, we even have a hazy called Little Belly, which is a 5.3%. I cheat the final gravity up a little bit with malted dextrin, not with lactose, just so that everybody can drink it, right? So, but with Yellow Weller, you also get into certain malts. And there were a lot of malts that I didn't have access to as a home brewer. You just had access to the malts that your homebrew store had. And your homebrew store is probably buying malt from the large suppliers. So they've got Fireman, RAR, maybe Hunt's, right? But I didn't have access to Montana malt or Castle malt or Proximity malt or Irex or stuff like that. So you learn what each malter is really good at, right? So Proximity, I find, and there's probably a lot of brewers that will say, no, that's not right. I find Proximity makes a really good unit malt and a good Vienna malt. And some of their crystals get a little bitter. Okay. So whenever I'm a black malt or a chocolate malt, then I'll typically go with Irex. And then my primary malt, my 2-row, my pilsner, my 6-row, that all depends on what style of beer that I'm making. Like if I'm making a quad or a Belgian blonde or something like that, from Castle malt. It's Belgian. Yeah. And it actually makes it significant.
Yeah.
Like
all these different areas where they're grown and different strains of hops or grains or stuff like that.
So the malt is not so much where it's grown, right? So there are central locations in Europe where they grow a lot of the malt. And there's central locations here in the US where they grow a lot of the grain. Sorry, not malt. But it's more so the maltsters take long malting. So some people have a pale malt that will run up to like 5 Lovibond, and then some have some that are like 3 Lovibond, and that's the color, right?
Okay, so the higher the number, the darker the color of it.
Right. And then, but there are some maltsters who their malt will lean on the nutty side, and if you want it in that beer, great. But if you don't want it in that beer, if you want more of like a clean profile, then you have to go with something that's malted in a certain way, with like a lower color and a very clean. There are a lot of beers that we make here where we want the malt to get out of the way. We don't want malt. I don't want any malt flavor. I want hop flavor and I want yeast flavor, right? The malt is there to maybe add color, but in 409 Skyline, which is a session IPA, 4.4%, right? It's all Pilsner malt, and it's the lightest malt that I can find. It's the most neutral malt I can find, because that beer is not about malt character. That beer is about hops. I want the malt to get out of the way. I just want your sugar. I want to make alcohol, and then I want you to get the hell out of the way and let the hops just be the show, right?
And like I said on one of my previous videos, an IPA is an Indian Pale Ale. So when they shipped them over to keep it from spoiling, they would just keep adding hops.
Yes,
correct.
So hops are antimicrobial.
Yeah. So they just sit there. They just keep stacking it on top of whatever they had to keep it so it would spoil and they could keep drinking it.
Well, they would stick it in the barrel with a load of hops, right? What we would call now is a dry hop. And that's historically the difference in a pale ale and an IPA. So an IPA is going to be dry hopped. Historically, from the ships that are leaving England and going to India, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would just throw a bunch of hops in that whole batch, and then they would ship it, and then they would serve it out of little barrels, I guess.
Yeah, like the old days when they got the old.
Yeah, but
tap or whatever.
the reason is that the hops are antimicrobial. So one of the primary issues, and why we sanitize everything. Like lactobacillus is everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're whenever you're making a sour, if you're doing a kettle sour where you're adding lactobacillus into your kettle, you can't have any hops.
Really?
Boil. So you have to let you have to let the lactobacillus do its work.
Then that's just sour it?
Drop the pH, yeah.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt again, but
No. So so then once the lactobacillus does all its work, it makes it sour. If you want to add hops, then the kettle, you raise your temperature, you kill all the lactobacillus, and then you add your hops. There can't be any hops in your kettle. Or else it'll kill the lactobacillus, yeah. But yeah, hops are antimicrobial, and that's kind of where it came from.
I had I understood why they did it, just so it wouldn't spoil.
Yeah.
But now it makes more sense.
Yeah, but that's kind of the historical look at a pale ale and IPA. For instance, I have a pale ale that I just tried out yesterday, but I'm still going to call it pale ale. And most pale ales that are on the market, it's a good guess that they're probably dry hopped. It's just a better way to get more aroma, right? More hop flavor, right?
Because to me, if you any of the Indian pale ales or pale ales and stuff like that, they've all got that. For me, it's a grapefruit.
Yeah. So it all depends on which hop you're using, right?
Correct. And I've seen some to where they've got tablets that they just throw in there, and I don't know what those are for. They got 90-minute or 120-minute. They're just little caps that toss in their beer. Have you ever seen that? I don't know if it's
in a bottle.
No, it's I'll find it. I don't like mine.
So they throw it into the kettle or into the fermenter, and it's just a little.
Yeah, they're just tablets.
What color?
It's green.
Oh, little pellets.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them.
Well, probably all I've ever seen is pictures this is a 90-minute or a 120 or whatever, and then they just throw it all in there, and I don't understand that.
I understand what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like wrapped.
Correct. It's little pellets.
So those are hops. So those are hops that have been kiln dried, and then they compact them, and they make them into little pellets. And that's just a way to store them and a way to use them. Whenever you add those into your beer, whether it be a fermenter or in your kettle or whatever, those pellets, they
Probably expand, just scatter.
they quickly expand and scatter.
Yeah, because the way you said they're dehydrated and then compressed, well, you start adding moisture and air to them, what are they going to do? It's like those little dinosaurs that you throw them in a thing of water and they're huge.
Yeah, but that's the most common way to use hops is in a pellet form. Another way is leaf hops, which is like a dried leaf. And then another way to use it is wet hops, which wet hops are a little bit of a logistical challenge. If you're going to use wet hops, you want to use those hops within 36 hours of them actually being off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did a wet hop hazy last year, and I had hops sent from Utah overnight. FedEx lost them for about 8 hours, and there was a good possibility that we weren't going to be able to make that beer. The hops came in, they were a little oxidized, they were a little heat struck as well. Luckily, we were able to use it, and it turned out good.
So I'd say I learn every time I talk to brewers and stuff like that, because I've never brewed a beer.
I always tell people, it's not hard. There's a lot to it, right? But it's not hard, right?
Yeah.
If you do it enough, you sort of learn what certain things do. So here we use Houston water, so we don't use Colorado water. Houston water is actually pretty good. It's pretty neutral. It's
Got a decent pH balance.
well, no. As far as minerality, it's pretty neutral. So your magnesium, your calcium, your sulfate, your chloride are all pretty even clipped, right? The pH is a little bit high. It's at 7.7, typically 7.6 to 7.8, somewhere in there. High bicarbonate, well, not like super high bicarbonate, but relatively high bicarbonate, so it's a little harder. The thing about Houston water is that it's all runoff water. You don't see a whole lot of lakes around here. So Houston treats their water with a lot of chlorine and a lot of chloramine. And those are not good for beer. In fact, they're horrible for beer.
Kills all the bacteria and everything.
Right. So whenever we use Houston water, we do filter it for chlorine and chloramine. And then we try and make water for different styles. The hazies are going to be a little bit higher in chloride. IPAs are going to be slightly higher in chloride. I'm going to raise my calcium up a bit, just so I can clear the beer more. Houston water is great for stouts. There's typically no salt addition in the water for stouts. Houston water is made for making stouts. It's perfect.
And you were telling me the other day you're going to be making your stout here pretty soon, but you've got a golden stout.
I've got a golden stout. That's different. So with the golden stout, I do have to make some water adjustments just because there's not a whole lot of roasted malt in it. But our golden stout, I'll make that on Tuesday. We will actually take one barrel off of that and throw it into a rye whiskey barrel from Yellow Rose, which is here in Houston. That'll be ready February. Golden stouts are a lot of fun. It's pretty much a blonde recipe, so you get that light color,
The clarity. Yeah.
so you get that straw color. I add flaked oats and lactose to it for mouthfeel and for sweetness. And then in the fermenter, we add whole coffee beans, we add vanilla beans, and chocolate nibs as well. So whenever you drink this beer, it's got this golden straw color, but the coffee is going to give you the roasty note.
Mm-hmm.
The chocolate nibs are going to give you the chocolate note.
Either going to be bitter or sweet.
These are just raw cocoa nibs. So,
Okay.
So then vanilla kind of is the glue that brings it all together. But no, we make that beer twice a year. It sells very quickly. Typically lasts about a week and a half. So
Put one in a crawler and put it in the cooler
I'll
for
do
me.
it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Because I want to try that beer.
Oh,
And then, like, he's drinking Invictus, and I've got Hefeweizen. Again, these are from the Fredonia Brewery. And then these are some of his cans that he's got. He's also got crawlers, which are a 32-ounce can.
Well, we stopped doing crowlers. We moved from a 32-ounce crowler to 16-ounce cans.
Okay, so you just, okay.
So off the wall, if we don't have what you want in cans already, we can can off the wall. 16-ounce cans, we do a special price for a 4-pack. We do a special price for a 6-pack as well.
Okay.
And I am horrible at keeping can stock, so it's Friday and we are down to 6 cans. So my servers are probably gonna gripe at me a little bit whenever they show up later.
Every one here, you always low on can.
I know. We sell
Hey.
cans quite fairly quickly, actually.
But you know, it's part of the business. You know, you don't think of it because you're making all this beer. You're not thinking about how many cans do I have left.
Right. We're still pretty young, so I've got 4 servers, 4 or 5 servers that work here, and then whenever you cross the line, whenever you go past the fermenters and into the brewing area and everything, that's just me. So I do all of that. I pay all the taxes. I do all the bookkeeping and everything. So I'm getting better about it.
It's a lot on your plate right now.
It's just time management. No offense, but like saying that it's a lot on my plate is just an easy excuse, right? It's just stick a reminder in your phone. It's managing your time properly.
Yeah. And wow, my brain just went. What was your first beer that you actually thought I could pull this off?
Oh man, first beer I ever brewed was horrible. I'm pretty sure I boiled the grains. It was super hoppy. It was very aggressive. It was an IPA, but I still drank all of it. So fast forward 12 years later, and I opened a brewery. I would say I started getting really confident whenever we came out with the Amber mini back. We made a blonde, an American blonde called Olga, and that sold really well in the first 3 months. So those 2 beers gave me a lot of confidence. The beer that keeps me going now, where if I have a bad day, I taste this beer, I'm like, I made a good decision. Lefty Lazer, West Coast Pilsner. I mean, most brewers, since we have to sample so many beers, if we ever really order a beer, it's typically something that's low in ABV and crispy and something that you can drink whenever it's hungry. Lefty Lazer is a little high in the ABV. It's a 5.3% West Coast Pilsner, but it is a crispy boy.
It's to me that's a real good. It's not a light beer. Well, I guess it is kind of a light beer.
I have one called Yard Sale that's an American lager. It's 3.4%, and that beer is. I need to make that beer again, but that beer is enjoyable.
It's good for a hot summer's day. You sit outside, you just want to have a couple beers without getting heavy and weighing down.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I started making session IPAs. I mean, our board doesn't typically get above 6%. Right now, there's one that's 6.8, there's one that's 7, but if we go down the board, I mean, it's we have a summer sweet stout that's 4.9, Lefty Lazer is 5.3, 409 Skyline is a session IPA, it's 4.4, Low Man Wins is a session IPA, 4.6.
And
like, I mean, out of 12 beers, there's only 2 that are over 6%, right? And I jokingly tell people, this isn't the reason that I do it, but I jokingly tell people that I'm in the business of selling beer, not getting people drunk.
mm-hmm.
But that's somewhat true, right? I would rather you spend more time at my brewery. I get to know you. You can sit at the bar. You're not going to leave here heavy. But come fall, come winter, my stout game's pretty damn good too. So
You used to have a pepper or a spicy stout, wasn't it?
it was a Mexican chocolate stout called
Yeah.
Spice. It was a Mexican chocolate stout with Carolina Reaper and Guajillo and Tabasco peppers. The Tabasco pepper, not the Tabasco sauce.
Yeah,
Right, so-
they're like little red peppers.
Yeah. We use those in the mash, and then in the boil we use the guajillo peppers mixed with some Carolina Reaper. And then in the fermenter, a lot of cocoa nibs and some more Carolina Reaper. And it wasn't overpoweringly hot.
No, it honestly was, but you knew it was there.
It tickled as it went down a little bit, but no, you're like the sixth guy that's mentioned that beer in the past 2 weeks. So that'll be coming back for the winter and the fall. Spice will be coming back. Yeller Weller will be coming back. We have a milk porter. That might be coming year-round beer, but we're going to bring that back probably late September, early October. We have an English Dark Mild that's 3.5%. That's a crowd favorite as well. It's just, I get a lot of people who ask me about, then we have a coffee stout as well. And I have a lot of people who ask me about those beers, but well, I can even make the smallest batch. I can make a 3-barrel batch. And even though I've got a lot of noise on that beer, it just doesn't sell as fast.
Yeah. And
whereas Lefty Lazer, I mean, I'll brew a 7-barrel batch and it'll be sold in a week and a half.
that's another reason I'm going to have to get either a 6-pack, because I got a friend in that wants to hear the Lefty Lazer. I'm like, not a problem.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I kind of enjoy doing is,
Muling.
no, it's not muling. I like to go to different breweries and try stuff. If I have a good beer that I like, I'm going to buy a 6-pack or a couple of them. I'm going to take them home.
Yeah.
I'm going to share them with people.
You're heading over to Eureka Heights after this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go over there and I got to pick up some of their something light. That's like my summertime cool down beer.
If you have anybody back home that likes IPAs, they have an IPA that I really dig. They're called Space Train.
Okay.
And Mini Boss is kind of
I think that one I've
mainstay.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Have you ever had Art Card
No, I have not.
from St. Arnold's?
So
Art Card and Mini Boss are both pretty much IPA mainstays here in the Houston area. And regionally, you can go to almost any gas station and they'll have Mini Boss and Art Card. The same guy came up with those recipes.
just 2 different breweries.
Just different breweries, yeah. He was the brewer at St. Arnold's and another started Eureka. Yeah. But that's crazy, right?
That's
So 2 of the best IPAs in town.
are made by the same person.
Well, written by the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he had a lot to do with them. He's a great brewer.
And
Casey Boats.
are you hoping to get like big, or are you just hoping to kind of like stay to where you can make a good living?
No, I mean, we're looking at more distro. We're probably in 60 to 70 restaurants and bars in this area. We'll probably put some cans out in grocery stores here soon.
And this is all due to distributing stuff. It's not you're able to supply this stuff, but it's just trying to get it from here to the stores is where you've been fighting, correct?
So my distributor does all that, right? I tell him what I have, he makes an order, he takes it, we sell it. I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old. So my 11-year-old is going into 5th grade, which means we got 7 more years until he graduates. And I think we will probably start to look for an exit in 7 years. And then I'm just going to go hang out at the lake, fish, hang out on the boat.
So in other words, you're telling people get here now to come try their beer.
You have 7 years to come try my beer now. But, yeah. At the risk of being called a sellout, I mean, if anybody ever came in here and offered me a certain number, the answer would be yes.
Everything is for sale for the right number.
Everything.
Everything is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then if you're not here, like you said, just I had to come during the weeks, you're always here.
I'm here.
And then you do enjoy like fishing and going out and doing all this other stuff. And did you or did you not play lacrosse?
My kids play lacrosse. My kids are really big into lacrosse, really good at lacrosse. So we travel quite a bit for lacrosse, especially in the summer. This past summer, we went to Vail for lacrosse, Denver for lacrosse. We were in Plano, Austin. And then as they get older, I think my oldest boy, his select ball team, they're targeting a tournament in San Diego.
Oh, shoot.
And a couple of years ago, they went to a tournament in Maryland. So we travel a lot with that. But sports are a big part of their life. And prior to starting the brewery, I worked in oil and gas for nearly 20 years. And I always had time. And I was at all the practices and I coached some of their teams. And I went to all the games. And starting the brewery, I made a promise that that promise was not only to them, but also to me, that I'm still going to go to all of their events. So that makes for really long weeks. I mean, Monday through Friday, I'm probably putting in 60 to 70 hours Monday through Friday. But I'm always off Saturdays and Sundays, unless we have a big event.
Yeah. And they just had Christmas in July, and that's why he's got their limited edition cups. And I kind of,
July.
yeah, what did I say, June or July?
No, you were right. We still have like 2, 4, 6. We still have 8 of these glasses, so they're on sale. If anybody sees this and wants to come and grab one, because they say Christmas in July. So.
Yeah. No, I mean
they're Christmas mid-year.
They're pretty cool.
And we'll be coming out with our Oktoberfest beer, and we'll have Oktoberfest in early October. Our second anniversary will be October 22nd. So whatever weekend that falls in, we'll do our anniversary then. And yeah, I mean, we're getting into the time of year where September, everybody's doing their Oktoberfest. We do ours the first weekend of October. But we'll be up in Conroe at Foss doing Lagerfest September 2nd.
Yep.
We'll have West Coast Pilsner and probably a cold IPA there. So yeah, I mean, it's been 100 degrees for the past 16 days.
It's been an oven out there.
My electric bill is killing me at the moment. Just keeping the air conditioners where it keeps the tap room semi-cool.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get that first day under 90 degrees, that's typically whenever I brew yellow Wellington milk stout. It's got to be. I'm not brewing a stout. I'm not brewing a 7% milk stout.
Whenever it's summer.
Whenever it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, nobody's gonna drink it.
And here in Houston, I mean, it's not just the middle of summer. I mean, it could be 100 degrees in October. You know? So, but then we'll start to make our Christmas ale as well in October. Bring that out in November. No pumpkin beers here, but.
But is there a brewery in Houston that does a pumpkin beer?
St. Arnold's makes Pumpkinator. There's an actual Pumpkinator day here.
What?
Yeah, it's like really like super popular.
Oh, I don't know.
So after we're done here, Google St. Arnold's Pumpkinator. It's a great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because the only time I've ever installed pumpkins is if the seeds are roasted or in a pot.
So, yeah, I mean, with Pumpkinator, it's a spiced, I guess you would call it an old ale, a spiced old ale. Maybe.
Okay.
Southern Star up in Conroe makes Mega Gourd. That's a really good one as well. I'm not super into all the pumpkin beers, but those two are really good. Okay. I don't know how to do it. I try and stick in my wheelhouse. I don't make sours. I have a sour on the board, but it's from Equal Parts.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty puckery too.
Yeah, it's a kettle sour for sure. This is an Equal Parts hat, officially. This is a Senate Avenue shirt.
You're just supporting everybody, ain't you?
Well, we all get along really well.
And that's something that I found out too. Is like all the like small brewers and stuff like that. They're all good friends. They
Even
all kind of talk to each other.
Even with the big brewers, right? So Carbach, we have an IPA called Shapeshifter. It's a Mosaic IPA. So Mosaic is the main hop in. And we've had Shapeshifter since we opened. And Carbach came out with a Shapeshifter series, which is their Smash series, single malt, single hop.
Mm-hmm.
And social media just attacked them. Like, that's an elder sucker. Anyway, one of the brewers from Carbach actually stopped by. He was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." I was like, "I'm good. I don't care, man." And super cool guy. But Eureka Heights is a really large brewery.
Yes.
So Casey Motes is a great guy. I talk to him every time I see him. Super friendly guy. No Label is a very large brewery, award winning. Me and Tom get along great. Skylar down in Galveston, get along great with him. So those are examples of fairly large breweries that are willing to hang out and talk to a little guy like me. You know, New Magnolia is much larger than me as well, and me and Shane and John, we all get along great. And but we all talk to each other. I mean, there's really not very many outsiders in the Houston area. We're at, I think, 60, 70 breweries in the Houston area. Yeah. Well,
I've got a lot of traveling to do.
maybe not that many, but there's a lot.
Because within like a mile radius of here, we've got we have Eureka Heights, we have Magnolia,
Great Heights,
and there's
Walking Stick, Astral, Brash, Holler, Urban South.
so that there's something for someone.
Mad Astronaut. I mean,
Yeah.
But I mean, there are certain events that you just say yes to, where you're not necessarily going to get a whole lot of clientele uptick from going to that event. It's just where you're going to get to see a bunch of your buddies. Because all of us are working 60-hour weeks, man. Like this is not something where you get into the brewery at 6 or 7 in the morning and you have a date at 7 p.m. and you just don't do that. If it's a brew day, you get in at 6 a.m. and start brewing. And man, I was talking to Rocky over at Astronaut, actually, and he actually stopped by and I was brewing in the back, and he looks at me and says, "Are you busy?" I was like, "Nah, Mash is stuck, and it's just got to do its thing, man." And he told me a story that he had a batch where he spent nearly 12 hours.
Really?
Yeah, maybe more. I mean, he said that he didn't get home until 9 a.m. the next morning.
Just getting it ready to go.
I've had multiple days where I start the day at 6 and I'm looking forward to, I'm going to get home early. It's a single batch day. I'm going to get home early. I'm going to get to have dinner with my kids and my wife. And that day turns into me getting home at 3 a.m. You know, so we all know each other and we see each other, or we text or whatever, but like I don't typically get to go to other breweries that often.
And I met you at Nacogdoches Brew Fest.
Yeah, I always do that. That's one festival that I get nearly zero uptick in clientele. But those are my roots, right?
So those are your buddies. That's who you.
I like going there.
Yeah.
My wife says I drink way too much whenever I go there, which is absolutely true because home brewers do not make low ABV beer.
They don't.
I go there and everybody wants me to try it, or I walk around and I want to try it, and it's all 7 to 12. I mean, shit. This last year there was one stout that was like a 15%. I can't do it.
They had CBD infused wines. And
Yeah, that's cool.
they had a lot of different stuff that I never thought of would be possible.
That's the new thing right now, right? Delta 8 infused seltzer.
I've never had one. The only thing that I ever had was that one, and that was kind of weird. And then I was like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why it's the way it is, or
I'm 42. I don't really do that much stuff anymore. So, but Eighth Wonder, which is another large brewery here in Houston, they do a seltzer that's infused with Delta 8.
really.
Yeah, so much so that I think they just sold to a hemp company. Yeah, so hemp companies are starting to get into the beer market.
Wow.
Yeah,
So I knew that's another business that's growing.
I mean, it's just waiting to explode, I think, right? I would love for Texas to do it because then maybe my property taxes would go down. If they could make money on
The taxes and whatnot.
the taxes
Yeah.
on marijuana, yeah. I have a problem with it. It's the same as alcohol in my opinion.
This is true. You don't.
That's going to get you some negative comments probably on YouTube, but
If nothing else, I'll just have a separate video.
I mean, I've
I won't do that.
gotten way more trashed on alcohol than I have on the other stuff.
Well, everybody has their own pie. Everybody has their own slice. You know what they like to do. Me,
Sure.
I like to go out and have random beer. I like to try new stuff.
Yeah.
It might not be my certain cup of tea, but I'm not going to knock it until I try it.
Sure.
You know, it's just like beer is an actual drug. If you think about it,
Yeah, I mean, alcohol has definitely probably ruined more families than weed has. You know? So after
Yeah.
this, are you heading home, or are you just?
I am
I'm
staying in Houston tonight.
Oh, cool.
I got an Airbnb about 2 miles away from here.
Oh, that's sweet.
So if I need to come back out and I have too much, I will walk here.
Yeah.
No, I've walked like 4 miles of brewery before.
But if you're hanging out in this area, you should definitely look up. You should definitely go to Eureka, which is where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You should go to New Magnolia, and you should hit up Great Heights and Walking Stick. So Great Heights and Walking Stick are right across the street from each other. So it's super easy.
That's my map. It's magic.
Yeah.
But no, I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day because I know how busy you are.
Yeah.
But I just thought it'd be cool to at least share your story.
No, we've been planning this for a while.
It's been hit and miss.
I've been the problem. So
No, it's like me scheduling the last time your hops didn't show up.
yeah, I have hop problems and grain problems. And it's the supply thing that everybody's dealing with. So, but you just gotta roll with it. I mean, me complaining doesn't never gonna fix anything. You know? So, that's what I
But
tell
no,
my
and
kids.
if it's okay to show like your brewer or your fermenters and all your stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, all we're doing is carbonating a beer, cleaning kegs. We're going to keg some beer later.
Right out of the keg or out of the tank.
Right out of the tank. That's
Lefty Lazer.
That's
Right?
Lefty Lazer. There's a bunch of chill haze on it right now, but Lefty Lazer right out of the tank. It's being carbonated right now. It's probably got another hour or two. of carving, and then my distributor's coming by later to pick up a keg. It's kind of hot right now, so
Go let's put on the wash. Very under.
yeah. Well, my keg washer's been down for a week. I ordered a couple of new parts. I got it working yesterday, and I've got 40 kegs to clean, which I started last night. But yeah, so today's just going to be, I'm going to carve that beer, I'm going to keg it, clean kegs. I got a couple of other, there's 3 other tanks that I got to also keg, but I might just get enough on for the weekend and come back at it Monday.
Take the weekend off and relax.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm coaching my youngest boys' tackle football team, so.
I tried school already started.
Well, their school starts Wednesday.
Okay.
He's a 5th grader, so he's still playing rec tackle ball. So I used to coach a lot of youth football in my previous life, and I say that I was talked into doing it this time, but I'm really looking forward to doing it again. It's kind of like something normal from my previous life.
Yeah.
Thrown into this new life that I have now, and I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, tryouts tomorrow.
There's tryouts?
And then I got a draft on Tuesday, I think. Yeah.
I come from a town of like 300 people. They were happy to have a team.
Yeah.
We played 9-man.
9-man.
Correct.
So
You got 4 linemen, or you got your center, your left, right guards, your wings, your quarterback, a running back, and a fullback.
Okay.
And then probably like or something like that. You know?
I'm from West Texas. I'm from Lubbock. I was born and raised in Lubbock. And all of the small towns around Lubbock played 6-man.
See, I've never heard of 6-man.
Yeah, 6-man's really big out in West Texas.
Oh, that's it.
And that's our CO2 tank being filled. So,
Well, I haven't done an active move my car.
well, I went to us come until tomorrow, but I'm glad he came today. We were drastically low on CO2, which is, as you can expect,
Kind of a necessity.
very important in a brewery. Yeah.
But throw them around, I'll take them out, show them what y'all got.
Good deal.
I really do thank you, Tom.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. I'm glad we finally got to do it.
A lot of fighting, a lot of biting nails, but
Finally got it. Hey, thank you guys. If you're ever in Houston, we're Elder Sun Brewing. We're in the Heights. We're at Shepherd and 11th Street. You'll see the sign. Stop by. Have a beer. It's a good place. It's fun.
come check it out. Yes, and drink some of this delicious beer.
Thank you. We're super dog friendly, super kid friendly too.
And they have a nice patio outside.
Yeah. Whenever it's not 100 degrees.
And you don't feel like baking.
See you guys later. Thank you.
And until next time, always keep your shiny side up.
So we're gonna check out his. He's out here cleaning. Go ahead. No, you're fine. But this is what he runs the place with. I'm gonna go out. Right, there we go. And that one's getting carbonated. That's the Lefty Lazer. That's the one that I tried straight out of the barrel or out of the. That was really good. And then he cleans and washes his own kegs. I mean, this is. And yeah, I'm not trying to touch anything because I don't want to. They're all sterilized. They're all really clean. But I mean, it's pretty cool. And then he's got the taps. Here's some of his shirts. There's his business card. I mean, it's just a real nice place to come hang out and have a cold one. And yeah, every brewery has a bad habit. We all bring a sticker and stick it somewhere. And then their patio. What's going on? This is their patio outside. So come check this place out. It's pretty cool. It's real laid back. They got real good beer. And they do have some collabs and they have other beers on tap as well. So come check out Elder Son.